happened. It's nothing you can do. You can't undo it. And I think America is in this weird position where it is just leveling all abandon, just erasing all abandon to try to make this thing that happened not have happened, and it did.
Minister Farrakhan said in early 2015, I think it's when Donald Trump had first started his campaign. Minister Farrakhan said, if America elects Donald Trump is going to send America to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Shit, it looked like it's a hand delivery going on.
It's true, but that's probably why it's in shambles as well, because I would imagine the election of Barack Obama, first of all, obliterated, their narrative about the black man, just blacks in general, that he could be so articulate, he could be so classy and all of these things. Then when you talked about, white women sleeping with black men, I think they feel like it's slipping away from them. And so now you see these people protesting and they're trying their best to figure out, how can we make sure that these black people don't take over? I think that's why it's crumbling.
Yeah, they're trying to hold on to what was. I love, it's a movie, Avengers Endgame, right? And in the movie, Thanos, the villain, Thanos said, Thanos snapped his fingers to wipe away half the population. But he said that I know what I got to do now. Now I got to get rid of everybody. Because as long as you have people around who remember what was, never grasp the concept of what will be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we've been sitting around waiting for all these old white people to die. Now they still around, and now they teaching their kids.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So as long as they can remember what was, they'll never grasp what will be. And Barack Obama showed them what could be.
Absolutely.
Hillary Clinton scared the hell out of them. They were like, what? Now a black man, a woman president?
Right.
Oh, hell no. We got to take this all the way back. And that's where the whole Make America Great Again and everything came from. Also with Trump, man, Trump is like the Frankenstein of America, because he's everything that we've let run rampant, or America has let run rampant. White privilege, a racist, a bigot, one of those rich old white men that just feels like he's above the law. And now Donald Trump is out white man and the white man.
Yeah. It's funny because you said something that was very true. This disease is getting rid of everything America really didn't want. They don't want old white people around. They want their houses. They do. They want the shit they built. They don't want black men around. They don't want poor black, poor brown people around. They don't want people in prison around. So this disease kind of is giving them the thing that they always wanted. And it's interesting because you can tell, and we talked about this when we were on the show, America's not sad. 90,000 people, it'd be 100,000 people by the time this air. They're not sad. It ain't no... It's no flags at half mast. It's no day of mourning. It's like, hey, nigga, go to work. It's really no one, because the people that we're losing are the people that we never cared about really anyway. It's
they
like
old, they black,
Yep.
they brown, and you know what it reminds me of. I was talking about this earlier with somebody. Like the '94 crime bill, like that comes up a lot nowadays, and you'll hear people say, well, there was a lot of other good things in the bill that we needed and that we had to vote for, and it's just like, damn. So they looked at all this other stuff in the bill, and even though they knew that this was going to affect on black and brown people, they said, well, let's vote for the stuff we want anyway. So they always willing to sacrifice us.
Yeah,
they always have.
Yeah. Every compromise, every compromise. When America compromise, it means niggas is gonna be fucked. It really does. That's what it means. It really does. Missouri compromise. Compromise means niggas is in trouble. You really did something. But the bravest thing out of all the shit I've heard you say, all the things I've watched you do, the bravest thing I've ever seen you do is embrace your struggle with mental health. Like the idea, because black people actually think you could pray shit away or pretend like it ain't there, and it's good. But I've never seen another person with, like, if you're an athlete who has made tens of millions of dollars and your future is set, but a guy who is still in the fight saying that these things exist for me was one of the bravest things I've ever seen from an entertainment perspective.
I appreciate that. I mean, that came from my wife. And that came from, like, my sisters around me, like Angela Rye and Amanda Seals. Like they were people that I saw constantly doing the inner work on themselves, and they started to challenge me, like, saying like, man, black men don't like to admit that they're damaged. Black men don't like to admit that they're trauma. They got trauma. My wife knew about my panic attacks and stuff like that. So a few years ago, I just decided to start going. And you know, it's really changed my life in a real way. And I tell people all the time, it's just like going to the gym, man. You know, like if you go to the gym to work on your physical, you got to go sit down with somebody to work on your mental.
What would you?
And when you talk about growth and evolution, that's part of it, right?
It really look. I'm telling you, what would you say? Because you're a young dude, you're in the game, you got a lot of stuff happening, and you've done it unflinchingly. What would you say that black men have permission to do that they never knew that they did?
Feel. What's that? Feel. You know what I mean? Like we get these emotions, and you know, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, you know,
anxiety.
Like we get all of these feelings, and you can't tell nobody. Like I come up in the air, my dad punched me in the chest, tell me to man up. That's it. Forget what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Rub some dirt on it, nigga. Keep going.
But you know what? My father was dealing with his own issues. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that therapy taught me. It taught me that, you know, we got to be patient with our parents because they were just doing the best that they could. Okay. You know, my father dealt with his own substance abuse issues. My father dealt with his own mental health issues. My father tried to kill himself 30 years ago. He said he's tried 10 to 12 different medications prescribed to him by a therapist. You know, he was going to a therapist, psychiatrist 2 and 3 times a week. So these are things that he told me once he saw me doing the work on myself. And I remember going to my mom and telling my mom, like, yo, you know, Pops was going through all this. And she was like, I just thought he was playing crazy to get a check. That's just how it was growing up in the South.
Can you imagine how powerful it is to tell men, black men, they have permission to feel. They have permission to go through what they're going through and have an assessment of that. That's an amazing thing, man. And if that was all you did, if that was it, that'd be a hell of a thing, man. That's a dope thing to think.
Because you know, we walk around, especially the era I grew up in, we had to be hardcore. Yep. Like there literally was a genre of hip hop called hardcore, which meant be as tough and gangster as possible. So that's no vulnerability. You ain't supposed to feel nothing, and you're supposed to take anybody's head off that messes with you. Now that's the easiest thing to do when you're a hurt person, right?
Right.
When you're a hurt individual, hurt people hurt people. When you're a healed person, healed people heal people. So when we think about like the violence that would go on in our communities, man, I think 95% of that came from the white man kicking our ass, and then us coming back to our communities to kick our own folks.
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just like, I would rather be and I don't know if you ever do get all the way healed. I think it's a process.
Yeah.
You know,
but even the best athletes that work, I don't care what athlete you're talking about, how great they are. No athlete says they're 100% healthy. No, nobody. They don't ever go. If you playing 80% healthy, motherfucker, you could play. So I think humanity's like that too.
I think it's impossible. Like it's impossible not to wake up some mornings and you just be down. You know, you're in a funk and you don't know why. It's impossible to not have panic attacks. You know, I know what they are now, so I'm able to control them a little bit better. But yeah, things get to you all the time. You know, every single one of us. We're only human at the end of the day.
I don't think I've ever had a panic.
I have.
I didn't even know what they were. You know what I thought it was? You know what I thought it was? These motherfuckers is on my nerves. I gotta come. That's a hell of a thing. And you were gonna say, what were you gonna say, Charlamagne?
No, that nerve thing is real because, like, you know, my whole life, my grandmother suffered from bad anxiety, but I didn't know what it was. Now that I look back on it, I knew that she was having real bad panic attacks. But she used to say the same thing. They're getting on my nerves. I need my nerve pills.
Yeah.
You know, like, but that was really anxiety medication. I didn't know back then, though.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just interesting how you get more information and you can look back on your life and have a lot more empathy for the people who raised you because you realize that they were dealing with a lot of the issues that they're dealing with a lot of undiagnosed issues. And, you know, for me, I don't take for granted the fact that we're the first generation who has the luxury of healing.
Yeah.
The generation before us was just scratching and surviving on some good time shit. We have the we are actually healing, and I don't take that for granted.
But we also weren't talking to each other. Like, you know, my grandparents and my parents, they were having issues, but they never talked about those things because they did not know what they were because their parents didn't tell them. So it just became this constant thing about, you know, oh, you're getting on my nerves or don't tell my business. And so it made it impossible to have a safe space to even come out and say, you know, I'm having issues. I know I've had anxiety for the past, I don't know how many years. And when I first met DL, I would not tell him because I thought he's a dude. He's going to laugh about it. He's not going to take it seriously.
Laugh about it.
And so when you came out and began to talk about, I never heard not just a dude, but a black dude say, I'm having this particular issue and here is how I deal with it. So I thought it was huge. And I've known you for a long time, you know, and we've had several conversations, but never talked about that. So I commend you for saying that.
Absolutely. No, it's real.
I'll say this. And I appreciate what you're saying right now, and I appreciate what you're saying, but it does not negate the fact that some motherfuckers just get on your nerves. That's just it.
And you should be allowed to express that.
Right.
Oh, he does.
For me to tell you, get the fuck away from me because you're getting on my goddamn nerves is a form of self-care.
Right.
When all of us were growing up, we had some adult that would kick us out the goddamn house.
Right.
That's right.
Where I'm gonna play, nigga, on the train tracks. I don't give a fuck where you go. Get up. All right, Charlamagne. I love you, man. Take care, boss. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
gonna be us. We can drink and talk shit as much as we want. Nobody can say anything to us. D.L. Hughley, uncut. Hey now, I'm D.L. Hughley. Welcome to D.L. Hughley Uncut. That's Jasmine Sanders. We call her Smanders.
Yeah,
Sanders.
well, that's what you call me.
There she is, DJ Lucci, and there he is, Black Blade.
Black Blade. You got a mad today.
You. Kyle grew his hair out and let his beard grow, and I almost didn't let that nigga in the house last night.
Well, he said he was embracing his blackness. Remember?
Yeah, he got a white woman. He can't erase it.
That's how to get a white woman.
Oh, well. Sorry,
That's how
Kyle.
it go.
Well, all right.
We are still, I guess, well, people that where the states still give a fuck about their people. We're still in quarantine, but other people.
Yes.
Yeah. You saw where Ohio's like, listen, we're going to reopen too.
Of course.
Let's just join the crew.
Of course. Well, obviously, listen, I think it's interesting that people who are now called essential were once called immigrants and get the fuck out, but now somebody got to scoop these lima beans up.
Facts.
Come to work.
Somebody got to do it. We are, it's just, I don't know how we'll come out or what'll happen. But, you know, now, of course, even here, everybody has to wear a mask, you know, when we're not broadcasting. Everybody has to be socially distant. If you know, exhibit any symptoms, then we cut your pay. You know, that's
I was
how
about to say.
Well, first of all, we stop you from coming in the building.
No, we do. we cut your pay. It's I thought this was very interesting that people who are married to immigrants in terms of the stimulus checks,
Yes.
won't get a stimulus check.
You gets nothing. That's basically what the government is saying.
But yet, Donald Trump is married to an immigrant.
Yes. But a lot of
We
the
don't mean her
policies-
though. We mean everybody else.
But a lot of the policies that they talk about that, I guess relate to immigrants, she was just naturalized not that long ago. So
Right.
all of the things should have applied to her, but they don't.
Right. Well, because I think we're very hypocritical. When you understand the fact, the truth of the matter is, America's always needed someone to take advantage of. Always. It's the reason they had slavery. It's the reason they had, the Irish come and dig tunnels and the Chinese, the railroads. But they've always had somebody to take advantage of. And the problem is that the people now, and we do it for various reasons, like brown people, poor brown people do our intellectual labor, and poor brown people do our physical labor. Like if you can't pick a strawberry and you can't write an app, we don't really use you.
Well, the sad thing too, though, is they do it right to your face.
Yeah.
Because think about it. It is the immigrants and a lot of the black and brown people that we need at this very moment. But while we need them and we're asking them to show up for work, we're also saying, but we're not going to give you a stimulus check.
Right.
You don't get that.
And after that, you got to leave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if we
But
kicked out
sweep
all
up first.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying.
If we kicked out all the brown people and black people who served us, like right now during this pandemic, like if we kicked them all out, like thank God they weren't successful kicking out the Muslims and the Latins,
right?
Because we wouldn't have doctors or food.
No,
it's true.
Like I'm serious. Like everybody that you see on the news talking about it, who's an infectious disease doctor or anybody epidemiologist, all these people who are very learned, their last name look like the last line of an eye chart.
It's true. And you trust just about all of them except for Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci.
We ain't trusting. He's a different group.
I'm so tired. A lot of people think they trust him. First off, I think that he's allowed Donald Trump to say things that he should have checked him on. And second off, I can't trust a dude that's standing on phone books to tell me about a pandemic. I can't do it.
Well, what do you say to him saying, listen, what am I supposed to do? Just go up and, push the mic away from him?
Well,
yes.
no. What you're supposed to do is to adhere to the oath you took.
Yeah.
It's the Hippocratic Oath.
That's right.
Do no harm.
Right.
Donald Trump is doing harm. When he says things that you know are patently true, here's the unspoken truth. The only reason that you are able to speak in a Trump anything, administration or conference or a press conference or anything, is because you will say what he thinks what he wants you to.
Yep.
If you challenge him in any way, you won't be there. And it's the reason why we're in the shape we're in.
I don't even know how you get sidelined when there's so many different platforms you can go on. Like you could literally go on live on your Instagram and people would tune in. So it's just like just tell the
scary
truth.
Part because that means that people are out there like Trump himself from the Oval Office nonetheless, just peddling these lies. The fact that he says, okay, well, you can drink disinfectant, you can do this, you can do that, or hey, how about we check into light? Can't you shine a light on it and it just dissipates? Like, where are you getting this information?
Well,
and people believe
the
it.
fact that the broad with the Chanel scarf on,
up to here,
looking like Diane English from Murphy Brown, like her.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she didn't say anything.
Right.
I think that a lot of people who want certain things and want like any level of personal achievement, they want to be appointed to something, and they forget that their basic charge, the idea that the reason their tenant, their calling was to take care of people. I think that there's so much selfishness, but ultimately, if we are in a pandemic, I think I've seen things that I don't understand. Like if you can't get a check if you're married to an immigrant, or you can't get a check if you owe child support, or if you can't get like the bottom line is, first off, everybody should get a check no matter what.
Right.
And the other thing is we should stop with this special dispensation. Look, we're all in this together, whether you are an immigrant, whether you owe child support, whether you're behind on your bills, we're all in this together. And if that money is to bail you out or to help you out or to help you kind of get you through, then there shouldn't be these kind of limitations.
And honestly, there need to be multiple checks. It shouldn't just be one. Here's $1,200. That'll last you for the rest of this pandemic.
Yeah.
Add to the fact that it's your money.
Right.
How about add that to it? Because you're going to pay for it one way or the other. So give me my money.
So the government it ain't the government. It's J.G. Wentworth.
It's my money. I want it now.
Honestly, I'd rather them freeze my rent.
I'd rather than freeze your rent too.
Thank you. Just freeze my rent. Like you're not paying your mortgage. Freeze my rent.
That's what I don't understand. Even the people. One thing I will say is that even when this first happened, I got my business manager got calls from our mortgage. Like I own a place here in New York and then Santa Barbara, and they said we're gonna So what they'll do is take care of people that they think can pay.
Right.
But they won't take care of people that are having financial hardships. It's like the very people that we're depending on to live, to exist, are the very people we malign all the time.
Right.
Well, it's true because what they're doing is they're offering support and help if you have a mortgage. But the majority of the people in this country pay rent. There is no help for you.
Yeah.
You have to pay that rent.
Call J.G.
every
Wentworth.
He ain't got your money.
So we're going to run out of beef and pork. There's a
And
food
chicken.
shortage. Yeah,
Everything.
chicken.
Yeah.
And they say it's a food shortage, and they say it's because basically, first off, we're not running out of meat because the pandemic has, basically compromised the plants. We're running out of meat because Americans are home and we're fat asses and we're eating them all.
That's not true.
I don't think that's the story.
Stop it.
Not
Stop
true.
it.
That's not
You
true.
can't leave America. You can't have 97% of America at home with nothing to do and think some shit ain't gonna get ate up.
Yeah. Well, that part is true.
That's true.
But they won't get fatter because the problem is they don't have any way to get like the pigs and the chickens and the cattle
All right.
to the places. So what they're doing is they're aborting a lot of,
I thought they didn't like that.
only when it benefits them. They love it. But they're doing that. They're also throwing away, just hundreds of thousands of pounds of food
So it's
instead of
food
feeding
shortage.
people. Yeah. It
We
would
ain't
be-
running out of spinach.
Nah,
No.
We
nobody
run out
like
of
that.
broccoli
Nobody
and
like
a
that.
cauliflower. It'll never be a lettuce shortage.
Because ain't nobody eating that.
It's because, and first off, I'm tired of this. I've never seen so many fat-ass vegans in my life.
It's
So the
true.
one great thing about this, we'll get the chance to tell if all these vegans is telling the truth. Ain't no tofu pepperoni.
Tofurkey.
Sit your fat ass down.
That is
You-
true. I never really thought about that.
Of
But
course.
most vegetarians and vegans, they're a little on the
Right, if you
fluffy
don't
side
sit your burly ass down, and let me finish this pork chop.
before they're gone.
As I say, you're not gonna be eating one. No more Mastros for us.
No. It's interesting because we are in a food shortage, not because the plants are compromised, but because of one, I think we consume a lot when you're home, you ain't working. And the other is that the people who produce those things would rather slaughter the chickens and pigs and cows if they can't sell them and dump food than feed people.
Yeah, that's because we're selfish.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
what
That's
it is.
American.
It's mine.
That's really is. And I'm telling you, I swear to God, we'll get the chance to see who will be, because you can't get an ass that big just eating radishes. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, hey there, welcome back. It is DL Hughley Uncut.
Hey there, welcome back.
Hey there. Yeah, that's my cool talk. Hey
That
there.
wasn't
welcome
hey
back.
there.
It was cool in my world. You silly.
DJ Lucci over there.
Yes.
It's interesting because did you so you are nervous about this pandemic?
Yes.
What scares you the most?
You guys getting sick.
No.
Yeah,
No.
actually. I
Really?
feel like I might bounce back. Like
I
You
promise
know?
I'll be all right.
yeah. But
I all this alcohol I drink, I sanitize from the inside.
for sure, Papa getting sick, though. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh, your grandfather?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that,
weird.
That nigga burned my house down, so I'm ready for him to go.
I'm not. I'd let him burn several houses down for him to stay.
I got to get the full story on that.
Yeah, my wife's father, he made barbecue one day. So it's the same thing. I come home from work and he's a great cook, but he barbecues. He barbecues, and what happens is he takes the coals, puts them in the Amazon box.
Even though there's a tin
Amazon.
can
Right,
right
and then puts
there.
them in the trash can, and before I even got home. So about 12 o'clock at night, he come in there. Dale, there's a fire in the back, and the whole backyard is literally on
What?
fire. And I'm like, if only we had a fire extinguisher. Here comes LaDonna. I have fire extinguishers.
Several.
Because she has everything.
She was prepared.
So we put out the fire. We were trying to battle in the fire, and I had to let him go in the house because the fire department came and they go, somebody put charcoals in the briquettes, the charcoal briquettes in the trash can. And if this would have been June or July, it would have been dry up. This whole place would have. And he ain't said one thing.
He hasn't
yet.
apologized yet.
He hasn't.
Maybe he didn't listen. Maybe he was doing it old school. Maybe there was no such thing as little bins where you put the
Well,
whatever
old
you
school
call
ain't
them.
burning your son,
But he didn't
your
do it on
daughter's
purpose.
house. No, he ain't doing it on purpose. And I like him. They mad at him. I'm not.
Well, because he can cook, I'm sure.
Well, he can cook and he can burn too.
Didn't he almost do it again?
He almost did it
Yeah,
again.
Oh, you can't do it twice.
He almost did
You can't do it
again.
twice. No, that's too much. That's too much. Listen, we were talking about how some crazy things are going on during this pandemic, right? A lot of people doing things they shouldn't. I want you to check out this clip from Central City News. It's Pastor Tony Spell out of Baton Rouge. Check this out.
See.
We're not hiding anymore. Sorry, we're not hiding anymore. have to hide in America.
This nigga here.
Yes.
Here's, I understand that people are very religious and people turn. And this isn't about oppression of religion. It's about the fact that large groups of people gathered in small spaces lend themselves to the spread of COVID. So there are a lot of ways that you can worship your God and praise your Lord and still be safe. And I think shoe booty ass dudes like that, like
sure.
like recently there have been as many people that got it going to church, to religious services, went to the bar.
Ooh.
Like, who'd have thought Chili's was safer than a benediction?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this particular case for me isn't really about him practicing religious freedom. It is really more about, well, first of all, my question is, how do you preach from the pulpit on Sunday, then get out in a bus and try to run over a protester?
Right.
That's why he had the ankle bracelet on for assault.
Yeah, so running over somebody, if you run over somebody and you're white, you're a preacher. If you run over somebody, you're black, you Suge Knight.
You Suge Knight. Fainting in court.
I think that either we're going to all abide by the same rules, and I think there's always these hypocritical stances we take. So everybody, we had the protesters that showed up, and they had assault rifles, and they were saying, let us free, and they were congregating together, and they were saying that COVID doesn't exist, and they were treated with deference. But you had people, and I'm not, I dig it, I think that they're all wrong, but then you had, kids partying in Philly and Chicago, and they were all arrested. And I think that the idea that we're all kind of, they'll paint them as reckless and irresponsible, but the people who still have religious services knowing what could happen. There was a preacher in Virginia that had, a religious service, and he came down with COVID and passed on. His wife had it. That's irresponsible.
Well, not only that, I think it's also a blatant showing of how they use the Constitution at will.
Right.
Because for the protesters, it is them exercising their constitutional right, right? But also, you have the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
Maybe your happiness is a party.
Right.
So that's really your constitutional right as well. But look how they were met. Law enforcement, guns drawn on them.
I think that people have even with religion, like bars are closed, but church services in some states was open.
Right.
Like and what's gonna happen is the alcoholic gonna go to church service just for the wine.
Well, on first Sunday for sure.
The little cracker and wine.
You gonna get that like appetizer.
Fuck Applebee's. I'm just gonna come to Mount Calvary. But it's these lines that we draw. Like I remember we had a situation where Easter, fell when we were all, and so it was crazy because they were telling people to stay home on Easter, which is a very religious holiday. And it's crazy. It's simple. Like you should have stayed your ass home for Easter because Jesus rose from the dead, but you won't.
That's so true. All right, welcome back to DL Hughley Uncut. I won't say hey there. I'll just say welcome back since you guys gave me so much grief about that. So listen, this next guest on the show, comedy tours sold out, comedy specials, TV shows, movies, you name it. He's done it. We all know him. Legendary, iconic, all of that. Welcome to the show, Sinbad.
There he is. What's up, Bad?
What up? What up, man?
How you
What's
doing,
up, man?
man?
Look at y'all wearing hats. I got a hat.
And I got hair. I got hair.
Guys, hold up. They got hats, guys. Hold up.
They got, you gonna get your hat. He gonna get his hat. Oh, damn.
Now, I'm gonna tell you what Sinbad did. Was on a plane one time. So if the plane was on with a crash, a lot of comedy would have been gone that day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
We was all on that.
he was gonna get me a hat.
Okay.
He said, "I'm gonna get you a hat, man. I know you love hats." And that nigga never got me a hat.
Never got the hat.
You know what happened? I'm gonna tell you what happened. You like that blue hat that I got from the hat? Now, I ordered that hat for you. I liked it so much, I never gave it to you.
That's horrible.
Yep.
So I'm gonna get you another one.
Another hat I will never see.
That hat came. I said, I see why he liked this hat.
That's
I said,
acceptable.
I'm keeping this hat for myself.
That hat is fly on you, bruh.
Do you know how many times I've seen you on planes going to gigs? It's got to be a couple dozen.
We live it. But you taught me See, Jasmine, I be on planes going to gigs. DL got special people who take you parts of the airport. I don't know nothing
Yes, he does. Right? Special cars.
They get your feet. The person worked on my feet, checked my eyes, got me some new contacts.
Yeah.
I said, I've been flying forever. What is this?
Yeah.
Do you miss being on the road right now?
Man, when it first started, say the first week, I said, oh man, what I'm gonna do? More of you missed the money. The first thing is like,
Right.
wait a minute, my daughter's getting married in September. I said, I got to pay for my daughter getting married. I had these dates picked. I had these dates set up just for that.
Right.
But you know what? All that's going to take care of itself. And now that I'm home, dude, I'm like this. I got a chance to work on software I ain't had a chance to touch in 2 years.
Right.
I go to all these tech shows. I've been doing shows with my son. I've been doing shows with my daughter. I got a brand new grandson here. I'm like this. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to look at it, though.
But you don't. I gotta admit this.
Not going on meetings.
I'm not having as bad. Like I thought it would be miserable. Like, but I'm not having as bad a time as I thought I would. Like I'm not miserable.
How about the people around you though?
Yeah, I'm miserable.
But I do miss one of the things I've always loved about you is that I could always tell what was going on by what you talked about. So this is an incredibly important time, and then the voices that you count on to kind of guide you through them are not able, like in front of a live audience to kind of illustrate it.
Exactly. And no, that's not happening. I don't know the weather anywhere but L.A. See, Dale, we travel so much. I know, okay, it's snowing on the East Coast, it's raining in the Midwest, they have a tornado. All I know is like it's hot.
Right.
It get jacked up. I didn't know that because I'm local.
Right.
And I've never just been a local.
Right.
I've been more of a global, and it's my world. And only thing right now that the problem is the homeless. I'm so angry at the people who lead this country who just robbing people right now.
But why? Like, okay, a lot of people say that, but what specifically are you angry about?
I'm angry about, man, you got a stimulus check and you stop the check, put your name on it. You got small business, that PPP loan. The Lakers accidentally got $4.8 million. The big corporation took all the money. So people are sitting home thinking they're going to get this. You got banks lying to people because they got the CARES program. They can't throw you out your house. So I'm like, but I got the people in Michigan. I'm from Michigan, and dude had a Confederate flag. Since when was Michigan in the South?
Right.
And they're carrying guns because they want to go get barbecue. I said, dude, you're confusing what's happening. It goes back to the whole Republican Party. They showing up with guns. This ain't the second right rally. Right. You just want to go get your hair. Why'd you bring your gun to shoot coronavirus? What you going to
That's a good point.
Don't you understand? I think that what happens to us is that we just start to take ourselves too seriously, and what happens to cats like you who've been just able to navigate, like obviously it's a very serious thing. No one is kind of undermining that or underplaying that, but humor has a way of crystallizing things, and even music has a way of crystallizing things. And I think that there's some things that you just find because you're able to go out in it. And now I think, obviously with you adherence to safety rules, but there is an amount of art and illustration that is being diminished because people are sequestered.
We can't get out there and talk about these people. I'm sitting at home trying to do it on we screaming on live. But can I say this? If one more Negro get a podcast or a live stream or go live and join me live and TikTok dance with me, I swear to God. Everybody needs to go back to what they normally do.
Would you?
You ain't no dancer in your fake cooking show and clean my house and my TikTok clean the house. I don't care. I don't care. I don't.
But it's fun.
I don't. I don't. I don't.
What do you care about? What's cooking in Sinbad's head right now?
Man, now right now I'm just figuring out. Everybody says when this we're gonna go back to how it was. If it goes back to how it was, we failed. This is I call this Sinbad 2.0. This is the world 2.0. If we go back to the way it was, we didn't learn anything. We just saw a pandemic shut this country down. We got to look at, hey man, how am I going to spend? I need to save up some more money. I need to look at this different. How do I get a hold of my loved ones? And And if I can find time to be home and Zoom and talk to my family, why can't I do that when I'm working? Why can't I show that kind of love when I'm working? So I'm like this. I don't want to work the way I did before. I don't want to live. I know we live that, hey, man, I'm on the grind. Every time you see somebody at the airport, I'm on the grind. What you doing, man? I'm on the grind. I'm on the grind. You ain't on, first of all, you ain't on the grind, because that comes from people who work in factories that were grinders. When I was in the factory, they grind, and that's a hard job, and it's a beastly job. That's an 8-hour job. So when you say in the grind as an entertainer, now we're having a good time. Even on our grind, on our worst day, it's a great day.
Right.
It's a great day. The fact you're in the airport talking about, I'm on my grind, get ready to jump into first class and get something to eat.
I'm waiting for Sinbad to bring me my hat, nigga. It's ready to go up. As soon as Sinbad bring me that hat.
I'm on the grind with a warm
I'm on my
towel.
grind to get you that hat. I'm on that grind to get you that hat.
How has, because you're an artist. Like I think a long time ago you were probably a comedian, just that if that were the hyphenate. But you play as much music as you do comedy. So, like, what would you say you were?
You know, man, I call myself a Renaissance man. I used to love Renaissance men. People that, remember, you talk back in the days of Sammy James Jr. and everything.
Yeah.
You know, guys say, hey, I sing, or a guy says, I sing lead, or a guy says, I play guitar lead. Back then, cats had to be a multi-hyphenate. If you didn't, they're like, I sing. Well, I sing too. What else do you do? You have to be able to do a lot of things. I'm like this. I'm interested in everything. I'm interested in tech. I'm interested in art. I love music. You know, I like doing comedy. But dude, there's not much that doesn't interest me, man. The problem is with this ADHD, I want to do it all. I want to do it.
And now you're just home, not giving me my hat. No. That's what it is.
Hey, I got your hat. My hat is like right around this corner on a hat stand.
What
hasn't been working.
Do you obviously